Hello. It is late at night, and I should actually be sleeping, but who the fuck cares? So, to drive the time, I thought I should assemble and test these. So let's do that. First, let's open the actual microcontroller. Which looks a bit like so. And with it you get a bunch of pins, a boatload. Take that, throw it to the side. I also want to store the excess headers. And the same for the battery shield. Come on. And sounds of desperation upcoming. Oh, wait, I got it. There you go. And with that, you get those. So, these headers, I'm assuming they want you to have it living on top of your project. Something like this. Yeah. Right, let's get even more complete and put on the actual headers that would use, I think. And then those are here. They intended to use it like so, I assume. Which then, I don't know, what is the official recommended way to assemble these? Let's pop over here. Can we do that? And let's search wemos D1 mini assembly. And I bet DuckDuckGo is gonna be like, yo, no. Yeah, this is just random images. At least Google shows more shields with the actual board. I have no idea what I'm looking at. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I have no idea what I'm looking at there. It's gonna think I'm searching for packet headers or something like that. Because ESP. Because Google. Okay. How did they do it? Okay. Put a long one on the middle, of course, but because the thing is, I want to design a stack, I guess, or a board stack, and I want it to be like standalone, but I want it to be like small and easily combinable with just a battery shield to be portable or to be used standalone. So I just want like a shield. So or should I just invert the whole thing? What I mean with that is instead of having the headers like this going the right way up through the board, turn them around and do this instead. I'll show you what this does in a minute. It inverts the whole way you stack it. But it allows me to put the battery on the bottom. It's a random test pad. Yeah, basically have it like that. And then I could have my custom board on top here with these headers. I guess. Does it really matter though? Let's check. Is this battery? Yeah, it's too big. Oof. Where can I put this battery? Will this battery even work with this thing? Maybe that's the thing to check first. It's the wrong connector, but I can mend it in, I think. And it's in, I think. Let's see if it beeps. Or let's see if it holds secrets. Eh. We're getting 5 volts. That's nice to know that works. It's the wrong connector, but it connects. Then I need to figure out a way to store this. Well, not. I mean, this battery is plastic wrapped in a sort of thick plastic multiple times. Well, 2 times, I guess. But that versus metal pins, it's not gonna take long before it's punctured. So I'm kind of doing 2 things here. I'm designing a shield and for that to be usable mobile, I need to design a case around it so it can hold a battery. And the other shield's an actual controller. I mean, my temptation is just to continue the stack and put the battery on the bottom. Battery board, ESP, and then my shield on top. Or reverse it all, but it doesn't really matter if I reverse it all, because the sequence is the same, it's just reverse. And this universe doesn't seem to care for any particular up or down, so that doesn't matter. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I might do. How long is this? Not long enough. So I use these. Yeah, okay, I'll have decided. Ow! Ow. I thought armrests were supposed to, like, help. Well, it helps your arms, but apparently it doesn't help your chest when you're leaning over them. Ow. Anyway, let's get that out of the way. And let's solder. Oh god. Whoop. So, yeah, it doesn't fucking matter. I'll just solder it on. Yeah, it doesn't matter for this project. This is probably never gonna. Like, well, maybe disassemble for another project, but I should really stop disassembling my projects. Yeah. Let's try that again. What do you mean footery? I've never heard of the concept. God. Oh, I hate this iron. But it's the only iron I got. So that's what we'll make do with. Oh, horrible whites. Better. And because this iron is wall driven, it tends to get quite hot when you hold it. Oh, come on, melt. Don't breathe these fumes. Like, do yourself a favor. Don't breathe these fumes. Preferably close your lungs. Come on, plumber. Bet those two pads are battery plus and I think that's it? No? Yeah. Nice. If I want to, I can just connect my battery right here where the... Oh, come on, guys. You made the square pad a positive? Really? Okay. 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 Hold on. Now, the focus on this is horrible. And I can't, yeah, this I can't show you. Maybe if I, hold on. We are going where we've never gone before. We're going to zoom mode. Whatever the fuck this is. Does this work? No, it doesn't. Hooray. Does the proper case for this camera correct the focus? Maybe? No? Perhaps? Maybe in the actual case? I still can't see. You still can't see the... yeah, whatever. Anyway. They made the square pad the positive. The square pad should be ground, in my opinion, because the square pad is the first pad for that jumper. And the first pad is usually almost always ground. And there's no screen print designating positive or negative on the underside. There you only can rely on the like square and the circle. And by default, at least I would assume that the square would be ground. No, the square is the positive, so I guess that's a design miss. There you go. So, solder that. I can see it. And let's solder this, I guess. And do that properly. These are easier because of their long legs, ironically. Yeah, it's correct. Wait, did I finish soldering this? Yes, and all the pins have turned white. All of them. Ooh. That solder really isn't the best solder at all. This is horrible solder. Because of the function of this, since it's going to be mobile, maybe it's wise of me to actually connect reset to digital 0 so it actually can wake up. Ooh, but I kind of want to use it in live mode, like always connected, so let's just do it later. Rotate it so that I can access. Oh, shit. Press it down so it doesn't move. And it fumes all over your eyes so you can't see what you're doing. It's a perfect way to start things. Just pull that off there. This tip looks horrible. I didn't even check the other one, but it went on straight because I know this tap method works fairly nicely. But I'm not sure for this longer type lead thing. Come on, melt! Oh no. Oh god. There it is. Yeah, I felt that. Jesus, this solder is horrible. Like suddenly there's just no flux. I need to check this. Doesn't want to fit on the right side. What? Okay, that fits. So now, as it's on here, I will try to solder to it. This will end horribly. Yeah, this is not gonna work. I'm not even gonna try. Yeah, I'll just secure this end. It would be nice if my finger wasn't in the way. God damn it. Oh, shit. That will work. And if not, we can easily make it work. There again, a spot with no flux. What the f... Luckily it was small. I feel like I'm like coasting away here. Oof. Yeah, as I said, don't breathe this. Over the years, well, over the weeks as you solder, you really start to get this reflex of just not breathing in that crappy smoke. It irritates your lungs, it irritates your eyes, probably irritates your skin if it somehow could do it. So up, 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 up. Ah, I see you. That doesn't sound good at all. Wait. Did you? It seems to align. Oh well. That's all the soldering I'm gonna do for now, I think. So let's plug in a battery and see if it blinks up for a moment. I have not programmed this, I have no idea what it will do. Oh, it blinked up. Oh, this reset button was not the best. Yeah, every time I click it, it does that. So there we go, a little mobile stack. That, and that. Literally. And then a shield on top and you can do whatever you want mobile. Oh yeah, that reminds me of the Thunk Clonker, if you forgot about that. It also got a wemos mini there. I like how I connected it. It's just straight on there, and then just one bodge wire for the 5 volts, and that's it. And then I put a little piece of paper. I glued a piece of paper on there, I should say. Just like the phone manufacturers do it. Damn, I'm getting professional. If you call amateur professional, that is. Yeah, right now it doesn't do much. It just goes through a self-test of all the segments for the matrix, and then it connects to 4G, then it checks, then it displays my IP, then it checks my router, and then it displays the signal strength of my router, which is 5.5 decibel millivolts, whatever the fuck that number means. But yeah, 5.7 decibel millivolt. And that's what that thing does. So theoretically, this thing could get the battery shield, but I have another use in mind for the battery shield. But yeah, I've actually built my own kind of display library for this, which runs in parallel with the Wi-Fi, just so you can do Wi-Fi and display stuff sort of at the same time. But yeah, I don't have much more to say, I guess, for this stream. So with that said, I think I'll be signing off right about now. But yeah. I guess I could program or put some code on this thing. I guess. Okay. This new USB cables I got are very, very, very tight in some sockets. Including these USB sockets, it's just way tight. So let me just upload blah 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 blah. Upload, please. Connecting. Writing. Hard reset. There you go. This thing now runs the same program that the display you saw does. So it's gonna connect to Wi-Fi. Yeah, now it's connecting to Wi-Fi. Now it's connected. And now it's actually saying API 500 because it doesn't have access to the router because I changed the code. Because, hey, you never know if I would happen to do like switch to desktop and be like, oh hey, here it is. So yeah. So I know for a fact it's just saying API error. But I mean, in theory, it should. If I had a scope, and if we looked at D2, D3, and D4, we would see some strange signals, I guess. Well, just serial signals. But yeah, let's just do blink real quick because that's always a classic. Yeah. This is the built-in example blink for the ESP, which means it's a bit different in the delay, but that's about it. It's going to be off for 1 second and on for 2, I think. Or reverse. Yeah, it's on for 1 second and off for 2. That's a weird thing with ESP. When you write it low, it turns on. Like 1 second, turn it off. Wait for 2 seconds. But yeah, that's the ESP running blink. If I want to, I can just get rid of that, get a battery, and clunk that up. Like, look at this. This isn't really that big. This fits in your hand. Like this tiny. Yeah. It's like very, very, very tiny. Yeah, there you have it. Also, I should note, this is not the right kind of battery for this battery board. I'm fairly certain, at least. This is a polymer battery. Polymer batteries are good up to 4.7 something volts, I think. I'm not sure, don't quote me on that. While regular lithium ion batteries are good up to 4.2 volts. And it's also different on the lower end, I think. I think that with these, the polymer. Wait, let's just Google. Let's just Google. Lithium polymer versus ion. What's the difference? Yes. I want to know the voltages. Voltages. Battery voltage information from batteryuniversity.com. Let's see what they have to say. Okay. Wait, what? You name your article lithium ion versus lithium polymer, and then you have a sub-headline that says, what's the difference? What do you expect to be in the bread text for that sub-headline? Would you expect it to explain the difference between them? Nah, we're just gonna explain in general what a lithium ion battery is. At least put it under the right subtitle. Yes, I know you're probably gonna pad out the article with how they work just to pad it out, but at least put it under its own subtitle. Looking for information for these articles are just awful. Like at this point, I'd rather go to the freaking papers and read through the abstracts of those. That would be faster. annoys me to no end. Okay, let's see what Adafruit can say about this. What? Are they like incapable of discussing the difference between polymer and ion? Okay, let's just check Wikipedia then. Control F polymer. Okay, I found a Wikipedia article for lithium polymer batteries, which has a rather short intro which I will read for you. A lithium polymer battery, or more correctly, lithium ion polymer battery, abbreviated as LiPo, LiP or LiPoly or lithium poly, and others, is a rechargeable battery of lithium-ion technology using a polymer electrode instead of a liquid electrolyte. High conductivity semi-solid gel polymers form this gel electrolyte. These batteries provide a higher specific energy than other lithium battery types and are used in applications where weight is a critical feature. So that's about it, maybe. Charging. Yes, here we go. Or is it? Wait. Okay, I'll just read you this. The voltage of a LiPo cell depends on its chemistry and varies from about 2.7 to 3 volts discharge. No, 2.7 to 3 volts discharge to about 4.2 volts fully charged. So if you have a lithium polymer battery that unfortunately uses the technology, which means that it only can go down to 3 volts, this charge controller here is gonna not care, and it's just gonna continue until it's at 2.8 volts. Now that's only 0.2 of a volt. With 0.2 of a volt for a battery with quite a bit of milliamps, even at that like low level, that can severely damage the electrodes or dry it out, or I have no idea. It might heat it up and cook it from the inside. It might destroy the surface coatings. It might, hell, I don't know. I just can't tell you. I don't know how it would react, because I've never over discharged a polymer battery before. So yeah, that's just a minor thing. If you can, don't use polymer. Use good old regular 18650s. You do have some over there. Speaking of, how about hooking up those instead? Like just a pack sell of those. Can I reach them? No, I cannot. God damn it. Ooh. Noises. Sorry. Take your ears. So, here you have your regular old 18650s. How much of this are you seeing? There you go. Compared to this, these two can probably output the same amount of amps. And that's the advantage of polymer. You can pull a lot of amps out of a small pack. They're not very energy dense though, but they're not energy dense for their volume, but they are energy dense for their weight. And you can pull quite a bit of amps from them. And when I say they're energy dense for their weight, I say they're slightly more energy dense than a regular one. So let's just be honest, this weighs like 4 times this. So this is probably gonna have a lot more energy than this still. But yeah, given this size, it should be heavier, but it is quite light. And yeah. How about something like that? Yo. That can't go wrong. Or this. Just slap it on there like that, basically. Or like that. I don't know. Maybe on the side? Like that? I'll probably do something like this. But for that to happen, I'm gonna have to design a case so that these can be held securely. And to do that, I need to fix my 3D printer, so that's not gonna happen in a while. Hooray! Hooray. Well, at least... Oh yeah, speaking of, I gotta turn off the soldering iron. Ow! Yeah, at least I got the motivation to solder this thing together. And at least we know it runs the blink command. There it is. Oh yeah, there you go. wemos D1, battery shield, little portable Wi-Fi, sensor station, For me, it's gonna be a little monitoring, biological monitoring thing, I guess. We'll see more of that in the next stream. Well, that's. I'll say bye. Yeah, I have nothing more to say now. Absolutely other things to say. Goodbye.